Greetings, mortals! It is I, Remortis, coming at you with the continuation of the Baldur's Gate 3 Honor Mode Solo Necromancer Challenge. This time we'll be taking on the Acts 1.5 and Act 2. This one's quite a bit of a doozy and has many close calls, so go ahead, sit back and relax, and enjoy. And feel free to come and go to the video as you please, it's going to be a long one. Alright, with all this out of the way, let's just get right into it, shall we? But first, this video is sponsored by Boot.dev, a wonderful way to learn how to code through hands-on lessons that balance theory with practice, and an active Discord community too. Students will be prepared to tackle technical interviews and forge a successful programming career. With Boot.dev, you will learn back-end web development from start to finish in the Python and Go programming languages. The folks at Boot.dev believe the smartest way to learn how to code is to make sure that you're never bored. Boot.dev is an online, self-paced, and feels like a captivating RPG game. You'll earn experience points, levels, achievements, and be able to complete quests to get a top spot on the global leaderboard, which will be shared worldwide. The platform is designed to get you writing a ton of code, because getting your hands on the keyboard and shipping projects is the only way to really learn. If you ever feel like you're struggling to understand a concept, you can talk to Boots, a powerful bear wizard that's been trained on each lesson and can walk you through your issue. He's an AI that will ask you questions to help you understand, rather than just hand you the answers. If you ever wanted to learn how to code, be sure to check out boot.dev and click the link in the description box and use my code to get 25% off your first payment. That's 25% off your first month or your first year, depending on the subscription you choose. But fear not, they never want a student feeling like they spent money on something that isn't helping them. So they will also offer a 30-day no questions asked refund policy and a free demo of every course and its interactive features. So be sure to check out boot.dev, a pretty sweet way to learn how to code. Now on to the video. So continuing where we left off, we just finished all of the Underdark except for the Forge. So we're going to just go ahead and do this fight. I am not going to be fighting down there on the floor because screw that, I'm just a brittle wizard and this guy will destroy me. So we're going to cheese it by staying up here and throwing shit at him. I know it's a little bit anticlimactic, but like I said, you want me to go over there and fight this thing? This thing will one-shot me without even more cheese, so, you know. So we go ahead and just pelt this guy. We do try to get him in the anvil itself to make speed along faster, because as you can see, it's going to take quite a bit. So I do try to send some of my skeletons down there to try to lure him there, but as you can see, he's just going to come walk up here and just one-shot the skeleton and walk back to where he was. So I decided to send our lovely shovel down there, our wonderful Quasit, and do some trickery with the invisibility. You can see here he's trying to find him, and then he walks right into position, so the next turn we go ahead and slam that hammer on him. And then we finish him off with last attack. So this is where one of the close calls comes into play, as immediately as I jump off, Featherfall wears off, and I take quite a bit of damage. If Featherfall wore off just before that, I would have been even more toast and probably would have been dead. All right, so now that we finished getting our first adamantine armor, I'm looking around for the shield because I forgot to pick that up. So we go back and get it. However, you did notice though, the armor I actually made was for heavy armor, and I don't realize this until it's time to level up. So we go ahead and make our shield and we go ahead and equip it. And you're probably wondering, why would I want to wear armor in the first place as a Necromancer? Well, when I hit level 7, I'm going to be multi-classing into Druid because I'm going to go Spore Druid Necromancer in this run to get even more Necromancy goodness. But we'll get there when we get there. Alright, so now we move on to the Monastery Trail towards the Githyanki camp. We first talk to this lovely merchant and pick up some goodies. And then, you know, some words were said and, well, I ended up having to kill her. And then get some of our more goodies that we didn't already purchase. A few good items here. I might utilize them, I probably won't. Probably just end up selling them. Then we go ahead and fight some of these ghouls here on the way over to the temple. And then this will be another close call. I then decided to introduce these undead with the power of Fireball, including hitting our own people, but whatever. And unfortunately, one of the ghouls managed to paralyze me. And luckily, these other two ghouls missed me. Of course, we get hit again. And again. And now we are looking pretty scary. I decided, screw it, maybe we'll be able to get out of here. And take the risk of the attacks of opportunity. Figured our AC is pretty high, maybe they'll all miss. And luckily they do trigger my shield reaction, so I go ahead and pop that. And jump out of the way and try to get out of dodge. Because we can't cast any actions at the moment because of that putrid aura from that ghoul. Luckily we resist it, and now we knock them away from us and try to finish off these ghouls. Barely made it that one out alive. And decided, yep, it's time for a nap. Then we make our way to the temple, and we see the Githyanki kill some halfling fools. Then we make our way into the temple by murdering some drunken kobolds. Light-handedly, blowing them up with fire and whatnot, and then letting our zombies do some work and making a few more zombies for us. And using magic missile to help secure those kills on those diseased kobolds, making even more zombies. Alright, then we eventually make our way up to the top of the temple, where some eagle bullies are, and if I take one step further, it'll make us get in a conversation, so I'm just going to go ahead and initiate the attack on these eagles. We got to kill this bigger eagle as soon as possible, as she's going to be calling for reinforcements, and we don't want that, because it'll summon probably about 10 or so eagles, and it'll just whoop our ass. Honestly, right here is actually a pretty close call, as it tries casting Gale on us, which would be it's basically like Thunderwave, and it'll knock us down, and luckily we resist it. I did decide to sacrifice one of my zombies to trigger attack for opportunity, so I can move out of the way without getting attack opportunity on my main character. And then go ahead and use a level 3 magic missile, and with our magic missile necklace that gets us an extra missile on top of that to murder it. Alright, there we are. And we go ahead and pick up this ceremonial warhammer, which is going to be useful for a puzzle in the very near future. And the little bird comes to thank us.
Good to be home in my nest.
The dark thoughts almost get a hold of me, but I said, all right, you know, we're still going to be nice. Why not?
Sorry, I'm just a bird.
We go ahead and bash this door open, and we do some shovel shenanigans to go ahead and grab this next ceremonial item for our puzzle. There is a Guardian of Faith there, and if you get too close within the aura, it'll beat you to smithereens, so we just hit it from afar and get our prize. We'll come up here to one of the grave sites of one of the priests, and we'll grab his little mace. Granted, you can use any weapon for this particular one, but I think it just seems right to use the actual mace, even though it's rusted. Alright, we take our goodies and make our way to that puzzle.
Lathanderian monasteries of this size were usually overseen by dawn masters, esteemed members of the clergy. Dawn Master for Said.
Alright, so we go ahead and put the axe there for the Said.
Dawn Master Stockhold.
Stockhold is the one with the rusted mace, although, as it says here, you can use any weapon, but like I said, I like to use the right one. It just feels right.
Dawn Master Seed.
And with Dawn Master Seed, we'll go ahead and put his warhammer there, and we are then granted a lovely little trinket. Dawn Master's crest. And you can read the little note here. It essentially says you're going to need to use this crest for something later. And then we make our way down to the Creche.
Sentries to arms! Istik, State your purpose quickly. You are infected.
Then we tell the guards that we need to get this tadpole extracted, and we use friends to pass our persuasion check. Alright, so we make our way to the Zaithis, not without a pit stop to the merchant, and get some new items. And at the merchant, they have a lovely pair of gloves of dexterity, which will boost our dexterity up to 18. We'll increase our initiative and our AC, as well as some other options. Alright, then we make our way onto the Zaithis, not without looking at this lovely picture of Lakith.
The painting is a small symbol you can't quite place.
Which we try to study a little bit more, but unfortunately we failed that roll. So we decided to look at it a little bit further, just to kind of admire the painting, not before deciding to add our own additions to it. And of course I failed this roll too, so unfortunately, well,
Gives her a distinctly otherworldly aspect. Just as you find your flow, you slip.
not my finest work, so we go ahead and get out of here.
What is this?
All right, and then we make our to the then we finally make it to the Zaithis, and we blow it up. Oopsies.
The room swims back into focus. Inside your head, you feel a familiar squad. If there's a chance the parasite lives, she wants it.
She demands us to give us that tadpole that's obviously still in our brain, but we go ahead and lie through our teeth and tell her it is gone. And she lets us on our way.
Really? Then all...
Who wants to challenge?
We then go ahead and talk to some of the trainees over here.
You?
And I decide to go ahead and duel this little guy. And I go ahead and try to make a dexterity check, which we end up passing to make a non-fatal attack. Because obviously I am a masterful rogue after all.
You skillfully avoid hitting any major organs.
Yet another staggering. Move him out of the way.
And this will allow us to grab his little disc on him safely without raising any alarms.
This gift slate looks like the other.
We then give it to Lae'zel, who decides to read us a lovely story.
And together,
Another part of the Orpheus tale. This one has been translated to common. Fine. The Prince of the Comet, Part 2. True Air.
And we tell her that we accidentally destroyed the Zaithis.
Skvar! The Zaithisk. It might have... Someone must have tampered with it. An aberrance I can't begin. There must be a Sharlak in this creche.
And then she suspects a traitor.
Now, you've gained my respect.
Now that we've talking to Lae'zel a bit, now she wants to be our girlfriend.
Do you?
And obviously, I oblige.
I won't be your girlfriend, but I will be your lay. Yes or no?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Perhaps one night soon.
Then we make our way onto the Githrak to deliver this lovely sphere.
So long as
I heard there was cake.
Please, Chitrai, I can explain.
Quiet. Find the astral prism, Therazin. My patience falters.
Yes, Chitrai. You heard him. Go!
Do as she says. She remains your Githrak. For now.
You are one of the mercenaries sent. Don't tell her anything.
As I immediately tell her everything.
No! Yes. There it is. Exactly as described. The Inquisition will finally come to an end. Skvar! Trickery? Heresy? How did you... You
manipulate it when I cannot? You are forbidden to leave. Report to the Inquisitor at once. Deliver the prism. Do not try to leave, or it will be your death.
And as soon as I get there, I end up leaving and leveling up. And this is where we decide to branch off into our druid, as we will be going with the Spore Druid route, which is basically like a Necromancer Druid. In combination with the Necromancer class itself, you'll get a lot of undead goodness. Although I do kind of goof up here with my cantrips, as I'd never use Shillelagh or the Thorn Whip, I probably should have picked up Guidance. And I realized that the armor I acquired from the Adamantine Forge, it does not fit us since it is heavy armor. I was a fool, and I thought it was the Scale Mail, which is the medium armor version. And unfortunately, druids cannot wear that. Alright, so as I mentioned, we decided to deviate from the way we were going. And we immediately go to the left over here. We go ahead and solve the puzzle and try beating on this statue, but unfortunately we are too weak to do it. So we go ahead and cast Enlarge on ourselves to give us a little extra damage to hit the threshold that we need to hit for the statue. I believe you need to have a minimum of 10 damage to make this thing move, and finally we get it. We go ahead and get them in the right position, and we open up this secret passage. And then we finally make our way through the other puzzles through this little hidden area, and we find the Blood of Lathander, which is a wonderful mace that will help us through the majority of Act 2.
Before you, suspended in a shaft of brilliant light, a fist-sized piece of amber flecked with crimson is set in the handle, emitting a radiance all its own. This mace must be the legendary Blood of Lathander. The amber is said to contain the blood of the Morning Lord himself. You recall all the measures meant to keep you from reaching this place. Taking this mace would surely lead to something quite disastrous.
So without hesitation, we go ahead and yoink it from its pedestal. We do not heed the warnings and take it anyways. However, it is in a bit of a trap here, which triggers the temple's mechanisms, and, well, things are set in motion. So a part of me is debating, do I stop this from happening, or do I just let it happen and wipe out the Githyanki for me? Well, I decide to stop it and fight the Githyanki head on, though in hindsight, I probably should have just let the whole place blow up and just be on my way. So because that armor is heavy armor and not medium, I want to go sell it to the merchants. Before we even do that, I end up leaving the temple to go ahead and bolster my undead. We end up getting our batch of corpses from Act 1, kind of near where you find Karlach. Like I said, we tried to go ahead and sell this thing, but then I foolishly realized that all the Githyanki are hostile. So, well, we gotta go ahead and finish them off. And then close the door so that the range guys can't come to us, but they decide to hold their ground and stay up there. So I just, well, I end up just leaving and resetting. So I take another quick nap to restore our spell slots. And of course, as we're murdering Githyanki left and right, Lae'zel gets all hot and bothered.
You follow.
Gith train relentlessly.
And we fade to black and continue getting more bodies for more Githyanki slaughter. This time going to Goblin Camp. And as we make our way to the Inquisitor, I forgot that the Kithrak over here was waiting for us. We go ahead and fight them for a bit. And almost dying in the process. 1 HP. I should be dead. However, we probably would have still been alive for a moment, just because we do still have the Blood of Lathander on, which kind of gives us like a mini little resurrection there. But it luckily doesn't trigger, so we're still good. We're still good, even though we're at 1 HP. So go and throw some more spells and then hide around the corner to chug a potion to get to full health. Then we finish off the battle. They murder my zombies here. Get all nice and close and personal. And we decide to use the Blood of Lathander to just zap them in the face for quite a bit of damage, killing them both. For some reason, it makes the zombie hostile that would spawn. We just go ahead and just smack him real quick. So now that I realize I'm going to have to full-on fight the Inquisitor immediately, I go back and take another rest to get my spell slots back, and then I try to keep shoving those bodies over here together so that I can summon my zombies again. Tough work being a necromancer sometimes, having to corral these bodies, especially with my camp bug still not working. Alright, so then we go ahead and decide to utilize these trainees over here. I'm going to provoke them into an attack and then run my way over towards the Inquisitor's front entrance. We do go ahead and guarantee a critical hit there, just get our level 1 spell slot back, and make our way towards the Inquisitor's door. And you might be wondering, well, what's the idea for that? Well, we shall see in a moment. As we're going to be transporting these bodies, so to speak, to our zombies that we had waiting at the front entrance. By killing these trainees with the zombies, we'll be able to make even more zombies and hopefully overwhelm the Inquisitor.
Where do I go from here?
And luckily for us, the instructor is not with them. He got stuck and decided to run back into the room, which works really in our favor because his little buff that he gives them makes them do a lot of damage and gives them temporary HP, making them a little bit harder to kill and kill our zombies even faster. And with the last of those trainees done, we get out of combat because the instructor is still in combat with the zombies, but he's a little too far. So once you get to this point, you'll get out of combat where I get to do some prep with some various spells and greasing the place out and buffing us, and then we use Shovel to come out of invisibility and open the doors, triggering the fight. We then move our own character closer to make sure he's engaged in combat with him because they're going to one-shot Shovel. And then we throw down a haste spore grenade from the spore village, which will cause anybody to run through the spores to have haste, which is going to be very nice with all these little zombies. As you see here, we go ahead and just murder the crap out of this warrior who is just a little bit too far from the Inquisitor, meaning that we don't spawn those swords that you see there. Because once you're a little too close, once you're in his aura, anytime any of his allies take damage, he'll summon those swords. And at first, this is working out really well in my favor, thinking this would be a pretty easy fight. But as you see, the zombies can help take care of the swords as they come, but unfortunately, they have resistance to blunt damage, and then of course the Githyanki also kill off my zombies, meaning that we aren't able to handle the swords enough, so I end up having to kite them pretty far back. And luckily I managed to get to a spot where I can kill him and the rest of the swords, and then we duel against the last remaining ranger. Fortunately, I'm out of spell slots after this last magic missile. And again, in hindsight, I probably should have just blown this whole place to smithereens, but you know, pretty fun. Having a whole little zombie horde. Granted, they got mollywopped by all the swords. And there's another instance where we probably should have died. And we go ahead and finish them off. And make our way to talk to Blackett.
You are permitted to look upon me. You are invited to kneel.
Do I kneel? Of course not. We wave politely. Hey!
The astral prison. It is corrupt. There is someone inside.
Alright, yeah. So she makes us go and try to kill whoever's inside the prism. And come on, I'm not gonna take orders from nobody. We spare the Guardian and make our way out. And end up making our way towards Act 2, not before being stopped by Gandalf. As well as being woken up by some other Githyanki.
Bring the prism to Baldur's Gate. I'll be waiting in a tap room called Shar's Caress.
Alrighty. And we finally make our way to Act 2. So as you can see here, we are running with the skeletons, as there are a lot of undead in Act 2. And therefore, they will be immune to becoming zombies. So we use the archers because they do quite a bit of damage. Except on this first fight.
Stop! Who's there?
Greetings! It is I, Remortis.
All right, freak. Don't move.
I really do not listen to orders, apparently.
Jonas, move in.
We decide to embrace our druid here and tell them to raise arms and fight the shades here. I immediately initiate with a fireball to help light that brazier, which will help illuminate the area to prevent these shades from going invisible. Then we proceed to go ahead and smack them around. The other thing about these shades too is that they are immune to necrotic damage, which kind of negates some of the skeleton damage, as they do quite a bit of decent damage with their short bow, but they also do necrotic damage on top of it. Unfortunately, that part of them is wasted.
Make every strike count.
Go ahead and use our mace here to just eliminate those three. Then beating on that guy with attack of opportunity. Very nice critical. We go ahead and finish off Jonas here. And the rest of the shades.
Not such a freak after all. I know a safe place. Let me mark it on your map.
And before we head to the Harper Village, go ahead and get a little greedy here and fight these little birds, deciding to just use a single magic missile on each target, eliminating most of them, and then moving us in position to make them all blinded with our mace. And before we head to the village again, we go ahead and find our old friends here. Look at all these lovely bodies for us. We'll go ahead and mark this on our map to come back later, in case we need to bolster our undead. We then say hello to Jaheira.
Stop!
And luckily, our friend Mole here comes and helps us out.
He's the one who saved us!
He's the one who protected the Emerald Grove.
Yup. Didn't leave a goblin standing. Not so bad to hang around with either. Saved 2 of my friends. One from a harpy, and one from a mad druid with a snake. Didn't make a fuss of our thieving either. I pretty much trust him with my life.
Why have you come here?
I'm here on holiday.
You're just in time.
And the first thing we do after we have that little intro there, we go ahead and do some shopping. This is where we're going to pick up a nice piece of armor, the Yuan-Ti Scale Mail, which essentially it permanently has mage armor casted on it, which lets us add our dexterity bonus to our armor class. There's also a lovely cloak of protection there to give us another AC, and then a solid shield here as well to give us another level 1 spell slot. So we'll go ahead and sell stuff and acquire all of these. We also get a nice pair of boots that also increase our AC, bumping us up to 23.
I've orders to help you.
And we start to head out, and we get to talk to the Harper ambushers, and we go ahead and move with them to ambush the Drider to acquire that Lancer to allow us to go into the deeper parts of the Shadow Curse.
To your church every day, my queen. Your followers are legion. You bless them too, my queen. Where is their lantern?
We managed to get him to drop his lantern, and then we tried to tell him to go on the way, but unfortunately we failed the roll. And end up having to fight them. But luckily we have the Harpers on our side here to help deal with them. And which pretty much just results in me standing on top of the building and the Drider keep coming up to me, and we just keep knocking him back down and letting gravity do the rest of the work. Luckily we have our shield here, bumping us up to 28 AC, making him pretty much almost impossible to hit. And then we get the rest of our guys to finish him off. Unfortunately, we lost some of the Harpers here. All of our skeletons, actually. At least I had them get up on the roof to begin with to help shoot from above. But we managed to whittle them all down and finish them off. And because we sided with the Harpers, they go ahead and just let us have the lantern, and they will be on their way.
Incredible magic. I can feel the light lifting the shadows, even those within me. Be safe and be brave. We expect no less.
Alrighty.
Did me a good turn there, didn't you? What do I owe you?
We then free the fairy, who will give us the blessing so we can freely walk around the Shadow Curse. We make our way towards the towers, not before running into Roland.
God damn it all! I could do nothing right! Not a damn thing! I was looking for Cal and Leah. What else? Instead, I found myself cornered by shadow fiends and in need of rescue. From you, of all bloody people. What good am I if I can't do this?
That's alright, buddy. You'll be alright. We then make our way to the towers and run into our old friend Saza here. And then we go ahead and spare her, as she's a homie, and honestly I really wish that she became a companion or a camp companion. She would have been pretty fun. We then talk to this rail who tasked us on a mission, and we head out.
Whatever has become of him, it is the relic that matters.
Not before snooping around and getting into this fight with a mimic, which almost kills us. And then we make our way and just go start killing some random fights out in the wilderness. Starting with these shadow dogs. And these little measles. They're really annoying. And at first I thought we were going to do pretty well against them with all of our zombies, but it ended up coming to a pretty close fight, as this guy teleported us away out of reach of the rest of my zombies, and luckily we did manage to kill him. So, another close call. And then we fight some Trinians over here, which also almost killed me. I cannot catch a break. We use Magic Missile here to get out of to break his concentration on the Restraint. And, well, after the third time in a row of the last 3 fights that we almost die, I go ahead and take a nap. Not before Gale tries to make his move on us, and we say, "See you later, nerd," and take off. We then go ahead and visit our friends again to get some more corpses. And then we head to fight the Shambling Mound fight. We have a scroll of Wall of Fire here, and we go ahead and just place it down. But unfortunately, that didn't trigger the fight, so we had to sacrifice one of our zombies to trigger it for us. A pretty easy fight, as the little treants come running towards us and pretty much blow up themselves and each other in the fire. Unfortunately, the explosions do a little bit of number on the rest of my zombies as well. And eventually we make our way to the top of this little wooden structure up here and just cheese the rest of the fight with Cloud of Daggers and positioning and rolling him down with Firebolt. Takes a while. And then finally get the last hit. Before we head down, we see a chest over there. Unfortunately, we couldn't unlock it, so we just yeet it off a cliff and break it open for us. And then we go to sleep, where we're interrupted by yet another Githyanki. And she wants to fight us. So we go ahead and fight her, and we obliterate her to smithereens, ended up killing her. So, whoops. Awkward. We immediately go ahead and get her resurrected by Withers, because we didn't mean to kill her there.
This is the price of that. Thou wilt now. Dost thou require anything else? By doom and dusk, I strike thy name from the archives.
Hopefully she doesn't hate us for that. And I do try to check again to see if I can access inventories and stuff, but I can't because I'm still bugged. And the real reason I want to keep Lae'zel alive is because I'm using the companions as alternate forms of storage since I can't access my chest. Alright, then we go ahead and stage the breakout at the towers by setting some smoke powder bombs by each entrance, and we try to jump to the other one quickly so that we can get them both free before the warden comes. We wait for the rest of these gnomes here to get through and cast a level 4 Cloud of Daggers because the wardens are going to be coming very shortly. And I just decide to hold them off while the rest of the crew goes and tries to break that boat free. And here come the wardens walking into the Cloud of Daggers. Then I move up close to engage the fight. It's a pretty easy fight for the most part. Gotta watch out for those paladins though, because they will smash us to smithereens with their divine smites. And they're also immune to the clawing gnaw effect from the zombies. But we make quick work of the warden and the eyeballs. I have to use the mace to make sure we do enough damage for them, and we make our escape. We reunite all the tieflings with their friends and family, as well as the gnomes, getting us some nice rewards and then process.
Thank you for saving me. And the two idiots.
Thank you very much for your help finding Wulbrin. We need to discuss what you're going to... I said go home!
And Wulbrin's still a dick. We then go out back into the forest for a little bit, and we find an odd freak.
Will you be their voice? Go to the distillery. The one she calls the waning.
And well, now it's time for us to go ahead and begin our murder of the Thorms siblings.
What do you bring?
We start with Garen Goth, the toll collector.
I require good. You may pass the river, but first you must pay.
We managed to pass our skill checks here and end up beating her without a fight.
Replace me. No! I require gold!
Which is pretty good, because she's really annoying in honor mode.
I require gold. No. I paid back.
I wish I had a bag of holding.
And now we hit level 8, where we finally pick up the Spore Druid subclass. Gives us Bone Chill, which we already had, but more importantly gives us Symbiotic Entity, which will let us get a little bit of extra temporary hit points. And allow us to hit people with like a little spore attack. We then go ahead and make our way to the tavern now. And we try to pass our skill checks. We get pretty far along though. We actually pass, we end up being quite a bit charismatic and a little bit sneaky. We get quite far along on this. As you probably see, I'm alternating between friends and guidance. Friends usually ends up resulting in a little bit higher chance to succeed since you have 2 die. But if I had the ability to have guidance and friends, I probably would have passed all these checks. But sadly, we don't pass this one. Unfortunately, it dissolves into a fight, which we end up having to cheese because he's really tanky. We end up jumping up on top of the roof and just pelting him over and over. And then finally dealing the final blow to him and dropping a cloud of daggers on his minions. We then make our way down to get the ledger and take it back to the weirdo.
I'd do anything to take it back.
And we help him torment the ghost by making him stab himself. Or her. Whatever you want to call it.
Like this?
My friend, you have broken her in ways I could not have imagined. You have done well. Her pain and anguish were sublime. I will treasure it. Here, for your services, should I find another murderer in need of torment, I shall call it.
Sounds like a plan, buddy.
Farewell.
We then make our way through the cemetery, do a little bit of light grave robbing, and we end up finding Mirabella.
Come, step forward.
And then we make our way to Malice.
Matters none. Every student is welcome.
Yes, I am a student.
Absence. No other word captures the heart. Are well on your way, but one white orb.
We then point out that they don't know how to use their little implements there, and they should probably use them on themselves. Luckily, the instructor agrees and orders them to fight each other.
Yes, for are we not all in need of a cure? Come, I will acquaint you with the lady's dark.
And then we convince them we need at least one more demonstration, and we pass the check.
Your diligence is exemplary. Very well. Your own scalpel you will be. Observe, then succeed me into the succor of Shar.
Nice. We then go ahead and pick up the loot and take it back to the tavern to wake up the dude.
Thaniel! He's still trapped there. He needs help.
Calm. Breathe. A century. I will, but I need to know where Thaniel is.
Alright, then we go ahead and set up the battlefield to assist Halsin in recovering the kid. We initiate with the fireball over there on the shades. and try to use the zombies to run interference the best we can. Mostly the zombies are just going to be a distraction for the Wraith. I should note that I am using a Bloodlust potion here so that whenever we kill something, we get an extra turn, which is how we're able to do 2 things per turn right now, without having to use haste. Luckily, all the fire here is killing off a lot of the weaker people, and we end up just beating on the Wraith. We need to be careful of those ranged zombies over there, as they will do quite a bit of damage to portal. But we try to get some of our zombies and even Shovel over there to help get in the way. Position the zombies in a way that they deal attacks of opportunity against the people that try to get past them. Shooting more fireballs out to help get rid of some of the packs. And also getting a cloud of daggers up for anything that might run past. We then bring Shovel out of hiding to inflict the threatened condition on these ranged attackers to make them potentially miss. But it's an inanimate object. How are they going to miss that? As you can see, they do quite a bit of damage there. And unfortunately, the dogs take care of Shovel immediately. But at least it keeps him there. We end up killing one of the Wraiths, as well as some of the other potential invaders. I realize that all of these shadow-cursed undead are not immune to poison, so we go ahead and launch a lovely cloud kill on top of all of them. Then we also look into our pockets, and so we have a Scroll of Lightning Bolt, and we decide to use that as well to take care of some of these bigger targets. And the majority of the folks will be dying to the cloud kill over there. Realizing this is probably our last turn that we need to defend, I'm going to jump off the platform, hopefully to safety, and then drop another cloud kill directly on top of everyone. Luckily, our zombies are immune to poison. And luckily, our zombies are there to keep the Wraiths distracted, and Halsin comes out.
It's done. I have him.
But yeah, Cloud Kill's a lovely, lovely spell. We're definitely going to make sure that we try to learn that when we can. We then go ahead and find Oliver to help combine the spirits and take care of his little buddies. And we reunite them. Now that everybody's back in the tavern, we go ahead and initiate the Isobel fight and defend her to the best of our ability. Luckily, with all these extra bodies here, we make pretty short work of the flying bastards. And in this fight, we end up using the archers because they do quite a bit of damage to all these stupid winged horrors. Honestly, I think the archers are underrated for necromancers. They do a lot of damage. And of course, Isobel does her best to try to get herself killed, but despite her best wishes, we end up succeeding. She gets close to killing getting herself killed quite often. But we take care of Marcus. And the rest of them. Yada yada yada, I'm your hero, neat. And we go ahead and make our way towards the Mausoleum to find the source of Kethric's power. But not before hitting up the Mason Hall and getting some lovely loot that we're actually going to need. In particular, this Scroll of Knock. Then again, we make our way to the Mausoleum and take care of some shades. Some zombies. And by setting up grease and web, we help them pretty easily. Of course, when the zombies get up to the skeletons, skeletons are vulnerable to blunt damage, but we managed to get through just fine. We then take care of some Kuatoa by just knocking them back down whenever they get up there and just having the archers pelt them. Then zapping whatever gets too close. Alright, and then we meet up with our buddy Raphael.
The treasure ahead did not consider the peace of the dead. Through the dark he went creeping and awoke what was sleeping. A new grave they
We make our way in through the underground temple and end up murdering some rats, which are actually be very relevant.
Kill one more of us and you will pay.
They give us some threats, and we make our way to some undead.
You prowl my battleground. Why? Are you friend? Foe? Thieving scavenger?
You find yourself in a dead, putrid skull, somehow hosting a tadpole amongst a squirm of maggots. Another presence lurks within, manipulating the corpse like a puppet.
A friend.
Alright, so we found Balthazar, and we're being attacked by some Shadows of Shar, and before anything happens, we use that Scroll of Knock to unlock the door right behind them. We then leap over and open it to make him join the fray. This will ensure that we are victorious against these shades, but more importantly, the shades will also overwhelm Balthazar and allow us to kill him. As you see at the start of the fight, they're neutral to us, but I end up shooting them a few times and they go hostile. But like I said, they're going to get overwhelmed by all these shades, as you can see here. And I noticed that there's a lot of these shades, so I figure I'm going to help thin them out by throwing a lovely cloud kill on top of most of them. Balthazar and Flesh, his golem, are both immune to poison, so I don't have to worry about them getting killed by them. But luckily, these shades overwhelm them for us, and we just take on the rest. And then we make our way through the trials, getting each gem. But before we go get the last gem, we go and visit the rats with our zombies. And a giant fight ensues of rats versus zombies. I do have another video of showcasing this fight in its entirety, and it's a very long fight. And it's just mostly just the rats and the zombies going back and forth killing each other, and I end up getting, I think, upwards of 30 to 40 zombies in this fight. You can actually use this to your advantage if you time it correctly to attack Moonrise Towers for yourselves. If you finish this temple, if you finish the temple before doing this fight, you can come back and do this fight, and just have tons of zombies for you. But I figure I'm going to do it properly, so I just go ahead and finish the fight off here, and beat the last rat guy.
These hands, too big. Where are the others?
And now that he's defeated, we go ahead and talk to the demon.
Quiet. It's gone. The song is gone. The contract is completed.
Now, off to the House of Hope for cocktails and canapes, and a brand new signature on a brand new deal. But first, it would be only befitting if you reward your subcontractor. The greater reward for the greater hunter.
Anything I leave behind is yours. Pick over it however you like.
So he leaves us the final umbral orb, which will allow us to get to the bottom of the temple. But more importantly, he gives us this lovely spider snack. And nobody's here to tell us to not lick it. Mmm. Delicious.
Tastes of rot and sour milk. Your stomach lurches. In amongst the rot is an unmistakable sweetness.
And then we finally make our way to the platform. And honestly, this is where I died on my first proper honor mode playthrough, but hopefully the bug is fixed. Let's see. Hey, we made it. Finally, they fixed that bug. And then we make our way down.
Then your task is done. Lay a hand upon me in camaraderie, and I will be free.
Alright, we go ahead and free the Aasimar. And the Nightsong is free.
Mother of the so-called Nightsong. The Nightsong is no more.
So you're probably wondering, if I'm a necromancer, why am I doing so many nice things? Well, my philosophy for necromancy and even lawful evil type playthroughs is if you just go around being a murder hobo killing everybody, what will be left for you to be in charge of or take control of, you know? So at least by keeping everybody nice and alive, we'll have plenty of bodies to deal with later. Right? Plus, you know, being, like I said, being a murder hobo is kind of boring. So I like more methodical evil. And honestly, she's going to be very vital for our fights to come. Alright, so we level up to level 9. And we go ahead and advance to Druid level 3. This will allow us to have a pretty few nice abilities, such as Spike Growth and Moonfire. As well as Healing Word to just get some quick bonus heals, if we don't feel like using a potion. And now that we are level 9, we can scribe using our wizard portion, and we get Cloud Kill. We make our way to Moonrise Towers, we equip Filara Luve, and use the Singing ability to grant all of our allies 1 to 4 chance to hit, as well as increasing their saving throws. We sneak up on Zrel and her companions and drop a Cloud Kill right on top of them. And then Jaheira immediately runs in and throws on a Ice Storm. Luckily, we get him by surprise, so we can go ahead and hit them again. I hit him with a Fireball to knock out most of their enemies. And we end up ending our turn here. I was going to teleport up to the rafters, but I felt like I should probably stay down below to grant the blessing buff to our skeletons, so they can pick off whoever I need. We're going to try to focus fire on Zrel to hopefully miss and get rid of all those mirror images. The lovely Harpers help take care of that for us. Which lets us have our skeletons have free reign on her. And luckily, we were nice to the gnolls ahead of time, and they're actually helping us in this fight. Alright, so now we use our skeleton to finish off Zrel. And then we teleport to the rafters with Misty Step. And reposition our Cloud Kill a little bit further back so that any reinforcements will get stuck in it. There we are. And then we use our archers to take care of some more people. I do try to use Psionic Backlash on here to hopefully make them cancel their Shield of Faith, but apparently it's not a concentration spell. We try to take care of the Guardian of Faith caster. That would hopefully go away. We knock down one of the guys off the rafters. Repositioning the Cloud Kill again. and getting rid of the Shield of Faith. Of course, there's another Shield of Faith up there, and one of the Harpers is kind of dumb and just suicides against it. Meanwhile, the Gnolls are actually smarter than the Harpers and take care of the person that casted it in the first place. Jaheira kills off the guy I knocked down. I go ahead and reposition the Cloud Kill once more. Then finish off whatever remains. Alright, and then we finish the fight. And make our way upstairs.
What have you done to me?
Since we were snooping around in his room and found his diary, we were able to convince him to give himself up, because that's what his wife would want.
There is no redemption. If Melodia could see all I've done, she'd know. She'd know her husband died long ago with Isobel. I wish it could be so.
It's kind of a shame we couldn't have done more stuff with Ketheric Thorm. I really love his voice actor. One of my favorite actors. And he's just such a really well-written character. It's so unfortunate that we don't get to really interact with him more. But convincing him to surrender here is very vital for the fight to come. And of course, since we have Aelin here, she's not going to let him surrender.
Rise, you dog. Retribution has come, and her sword is my sword. The gods fight at our side.
Alrighty. So we come up here and we throw down a haste grenade. This will allow Aelin and myself and then the skeletons to also get an extra action. We then use a scroll of Ice Storm and cast that in the center to try to make the conditions icy, do a little bit of damage. But mostly it's for the ice to knock people down. We then use a invisibility potion to reposition ourselves. We go ahead and get haste on Shovel and our skeletons and take out this initial Necromancer lady. And quite a bit of damage. And unfortunately we trigger shield, but that doesn't matter as our skeletons are crazy and kill it anyways. Aelin goes over to Ketheric and puts on the hurt. Well, some of it, when she hits it anyways. I reposition myself to get some haste and do some extra damage. I cast a level 5 Moonbeam on top of him and then use a fireball to kill the little dudes. But of course, since it's on Brutal, anything that's near him that dies will become an incubation thing. But at least they're taking a turn to be incubated instead of hitting us with their attacks. We then use our archers to try to hit Ketheric with this 20% chance to hit, and somehow they both crit. Freaking unlucky. And then finally, the luck runs out and we start missing, as we should. Takes another hit from the Moonfire, or he takes another hit from the Moonbeam. Runs up and tries doing Dreadful Aspect for some reason.
Focus your attack, soldiers.
Fortunately, Aelin can't move. And we did have this extra summon here. I didn't really mention him because he didn't really do anything noteworthy. We tried moving him in position and making eat of attack of opportunity. And then we use shield to prevent ourselves from getting murdered by the creatures from beyond. Of course, we get crit anyways, and then we drop our concentration on Moonbeam. The reason I didn't want to get hit there is because he has that extra attack. Whenever one of these other minions hit us, Kethra can get that extra attack. We go ahead and use another Moonbeam on him, and then we go ahead and then we use a potion. And luckily it does just enough damage to knock him out of the fight, and then it's just us versus the rest of his skeleton minions, who immediately proceed to murder all of my skeletons. And we do our best to use Moonbeam to whittle them down and go kite. But I noticed that those two in particular aren't actually in combat, and they keep healing themselves for some reason. It took me a moment to realize it. Then I just end up kiting the ones that are in combat and beat them down with Moonbeam. And we killed them and ended up getting in combat with the rest of them. We use our Moonbeam immediately, and luckily for us, Jaheira shows up and hits them with an Ice Storm. And Jaheira overkills them with another Ice Storm. A little bit of a waste, but you know, she's not my party, so who cares?
But if you have room for one lone soldier,
I told her to join us, but she's going to stay behind since, again, we're playing solo. Before we venture down, we go ahead and take a rest and climb on below. So one of the neat things about this area is that you don't need to have corpses to summon your undead. You can actually access this area during the Act 2 as well by going below the prison. And there's a spot where you can actually resurrect them. However, you won't be able to use your 4 summons from your undead because there's some weird bug that won't allow you to do that. You only can summon 2 undead at a time. So you won't be able to upcast your summon or your animate dead to get skeletons and zombies in 4. Which is why I keep looking for the corpses. But if you end up using the flying ghouls, or the regular ghouls for that matter, this works just fine. And then the first order of business while we're down here, we go ahead and rescue us. Will be joining us through the rest of our adventures. So now we have a lovely summon here in both Shovel and Us. And Us does not care for the Absolute at all. Now we have a lovely Brain Kitty to accompany us. I go ahead and use this healing device thing here, as I thought that you could continually use it, but I didn't realize it's a one-time thing. I go ahead and resummon some of my abilities. And this is when I realized, oh shit, I just goofed up. We then go ahead and free Mizora from her prison.
Good work. I'd give you a gold star, but I'm fresh out.
And then we take care of some undead by setting up some grease. And then casting Spike Growth, as the zombies will just run through it and get themselves blown up. And we'll speed it along, because it takes quite a while. I don't know why the Winged Horror is running instead of flying, but hey, I'll take the free kills. And typically zombies have awful dexterity saves, which is why I put the grease down. And I kind of bully them by knocking them back into the thorns. And then I decide to Misty Step to the other side of the room to make him do it again. I do provoke a few attacks of opportunity, but that's okay. We'll be fine. Teleport up here and make them run through it again. Knock him back in. In with a fireball. And jump across again. Alright. We end up then getting to the puzzle and seeing what's behind door number 1.
Your tadpole echoes. That lost blue taken. And just as suddenly, pain and memory.
The grand design. The restoration of the Mind Flayer Empire. The dream of all Illithids. Use your tadpole.
We then help the talking head here to give us a nice little buff. And then we prepare for the final fight. We summon a fire elemental. I was kind of deciding between the others, but I ended up going with fire. Hoping I made the right choice. Looks like we have a multi-attack and then a little mini fireball. This might work. And then, like I said, we use our items and our arcane charge to recover whatever spell slots we can, and here we go. I try to check the apparatus here to see if this might actually heal us, but it does not, sadly. And here we go.
The absolute is behind this door.
We then sneak up and see the 3 villains ahead of us.
You said it was under control. It isn't you I answer to, Gortash.
Oh, the general voice. Is this where we...
And we listen to a bit of their banter.
Salute, yes. With cleavers through his blood-starved flesh. How it crawls with failure. Like flies on lick-wet carrion.
Distractions have been yours, Ket. So you haven't lost your edge. But you're still not as sharp as Orin, I wager. The Slayer against the Undying One. That'd be fun to see. It of Bane.
The lash of Thorms.
And this is where it's revealed who the Absolute actually is. An imprisoned and mind-controlled Elder Brain.
The Testament of Merkel.
Now, it's really time we were going. We will empty this place and begin the march. You may catch up with the army once you've retrieved the weapon. And Ketherick, do try not to sulk. You're supposed to be the fearsome general come to conquer the city. And I am the hero who will save it.
Alright, so now before we get the fight started, I go ahead and throw a potion of invisibility to give our flying ghouls invisibility to help them get in position. It doesn't work on me, so I end up using invisibility on myself. I position myself next to Aelin, and I get the ghouls up by that Mind Flayer. I pop a necrotic resistance potion, and then use Pilar Luve's Shriek, which will pop us out of invisibility and get us in conversation. I then use friends to help convince him to surrender, and immediately spawning the avatar of Merkel.
He is watching.
Alright, so before we even take our turn, I try to use the ghouls to get some free attacks on the Mind Flayer up there. Alright, now that they're in combat, I go ahead and release Dame Aelin. I use a potion of speed to give us haste, which will give us an extra action, and then I reposition myself next to Merkel himself. And then I drop a Moonbeam right on top of him. By casting Shriek, we'll do a little bit of extra damage and also reduce his saving throws, which could potentially make Moonbeam hit a little bit harder. We then switch over to our Fire Elemental and realize that there is a Soul Cage there, which we use us to break, and then have them move in stealthily somewhere else. We cast a Fireball on those little Intellect Devourers, and as the Fireball is mid-air, we try to select ourselves so that we can kind of cheese out an extra free turn here when he finally gets into combat. And then with us, we decide to try to use the little Mind Attack to hit the Absolute Merkel because he has a retaliation attack that causes fear on people. And we want to try to prevent Aelin from getting that fear so she can actually keep hitting properly. You can see here the Gaze of Undead. That's the fear attack he does on people. Unfortunately, we break our concentration on Moonbeam, but we do dodge the Reaper since we have 23 AC. We teleported the Fire Elemental down here by the Intellect Devour to kind of soak up a little bit of damage here, and so that Dame Aelin will go straight for Merkel and not go for the stupid Mind Flayers. I go ahead and use the Flying Ghouls here to get them in position to attack the intellect, or to kill the Mind Flayer. Unfortunately, I just realized now after recording, I forgot to do an attack there. I get really angry at freaking Aelin over here because she's over here wasting her freaking smites on those little Intellect Devourers instead of Merkel. And well, we make do. I then recast Moonbeam on Merkel and then use a Fireball to get rid of those annoying guys up there. I just do that once. Otherwise, I'll just be focusing on Merkel. We teleport our Fire Elemental up here, and we try to make him get an attack on, so that way he will do the retaliation against us, but I guess he didn't want to do it. Probably because he already did it from last turn. He then goes ahead and puts Fear on our Fire Elemental and attacks him, dealing quite a bit of damage, because he still has his smites active from his human form. We then go ahead and attack the Mind Flayer with our Flying Ghouls, and then there's a way you can like fly them down, so that way when they land, they will break these eggs. And that's gonna be their main purpose, is for them to attack all these little dudes. Then we have Shovel here finish off the one that us couldn't finish. Then finally, Aelin is going to where she's supposed to be and attacking Merkel. And just a little bit of extra damage with our Shriek. Luckily, she manages to save the Gaze of the Dead there, so she doesn't get fear, and she can keep on attacking with a decent hit rate. Again, we use our Fire Elemental to try to soak the retaliation. We use a little Fireball there. Fortunately, the Fire Elemental is almost dead, but that's alright. He's done his job. We then go ahead and blast him with a Fireball, doing a solid amount of damage. One thing to note, though, is the Avatar of Merkel has a lower Dex save versus his Will save. So using things that use Dexterity saves is probably really key here. I noticed that I have one turn left on my Speed Potion, so I drink another, which immediately ends our turn because it makes us lethargic. And if you let your haste runs out, you'll basically skip your turn because you'll be lethargic. So that's something that we have to keep an eye on, is make sure we keep using our speed potions when we're low. We then use our Flying Ghouls to take care of more of the little minions. Unfortunately, one of them gets stunned. Aelin does a good amount of hurt on Merkel. And the Mind Flayer tries to dominate Aelin, but we use our reaction to blow him up with the Psychic thing. And now the minions are going to be trying to go to heal Merkel by sacrificing themselves to him. So this is where it's really important to use the right move. We're going to use our Fire Elemental one last time to sacrifice himself, taking a reaction attack. And then we go ahead and use another fireball, do a little bit of extra damage. And this is the important part for being a Necromancer. Chill Touch. Yes, it only does 2 damage, but more importantly, it inflicts Bone Chill, which prevents healing, which is incredibly important on this fight. As anytime those little minions get to Merkel, they'll sacrifice themselves, healing him anywhere between 20 to 40 damage, and that's huge. He hits us with a gaze, but luckily we keep our Moonbeam, and his attack manages to miss both me and Aelin, which is huge. Usually he misses me, but Aelin he usually whoops on pretty hard. We then use our Ghoul and us to keep killing off any of these little minions. Same thing with the other Ghoul, they're just going to be playing defense and keeping all these incubations away. Aelin tries to attack and misses, but luckily she keeps moving around and her little Moonbeam keeps hurting things. Alright, so we go ahead and drop another Moonbeam on him. And then we go ahead and put down some smoke powder bombs and throw them in position. A little bit away from us and closer to him. And with Barkis's lovely bomb, the Brilliant Retort, we do a considerable amount of damage, making sure to blow up those smoke powder bombs. And quite a bit of damage there. And now he's only at 60 HP. This is huge for us, because he's going to take damage on his next attack. We use Shovel to frighten one of the skeletons, so that way he won't get closer. And now he's down to 40 hit points. Unfortunately, he does slay Aelin. That's alright. He's so close that we can almost taste victory. We then decide to bring all of our ghouls onto offense. And just do whatever damage we can. Manage to hit him there, and we get a retaliation on ourselves. Just making sure where all the Necromites are. We try to do what we can with us. He can't move though because he's currently frightened. So we just tried to blast the nearest Necrolite or Necromite. We managed to get rid of their Armor of Agathis. Then our flying ghoul there dies. And the rest of the Necromites will just try to bum rush. We'll try to bum rush Ketheric so they could heal him and give him the ability Finger of Death. I don't react, allowing them to finish off Shovel. And then there's a Necromite that gets really close. So there's only 32 HP left. I feel like I had the fight in the bag until I realize we forgot to use our speed potion last turn. Meaning we go lethargic and skip our turn. He's down to 20 health and kills our last ghoul. Unfortunately, us can't really move. We're just going to try to do what we can to kill the Necromite. Aelin's down, and then the Necromites get close. And the one that's right next to him ends up healing him. Us manages to get a critical hit on the other Necromite down there and stop that one from getting close. But there's still the one from before right next to him. And this is when I realized, oh shit, I fucked up. He ends up getting a pretty big heal of 36 there, bringing him to 58. Alright, so this is the turn to make or break it. We can potentially end him if our stuff lands. We use a potion of speed, hit him with a nice moonbeam that he saves, unfortunately, and we throw a fireball. Now there's potential that he could take enough damage the next turn to almost kill him. He gets down to 5 hit points. And this is where I think I'm dead. He casts Finger of Death on me, I use the Psionic Retaliation, and this is where I think this is it. Fading fast, going to black. I thought I lost. There goes the run. Oh wait, a cutscene? I did it? As you can see, I turned my volume up. I'm like, no way. Somehow we did it.
Impossible. Death cannot take me.
Apparently, I am its master. How many times did we almost die this episode? And then we let Aelin get her little revenge here. Alright, so then I look at how much health I had. I had 2 HP left, and I look in the combat log, and I replaying it here for you guys to see as well. See everything. So I failed the saving throw on Finger of Death, which deals 40 to 80 damage. I was hit for 29 necrotic damage, but I resisted it because of that resistance potion. So that's what ultimately what saved us. And we took just enough to not die. And then with Psionic Backlash, I killed him while he used Finger of Death. So, well, we won by the skin of the teeth, but hey, we won. That's all that matters, right? Right?
Lifted. The dead three, allied once more.
Isobel, my love.
I forgot she's still wounded from that one fight.
I saw your body. But we have met. This is the soldier that freed me most valiantly from the Shadowfell.
Wulbrin and the Iron Hand. They have rune powder, they have motive. We have to stop them to saving the city.
And just like that, we managed to lift the curse. And we move on to Act 3. I still can't believe we made it this far. We probably should have died 5 or 6 times, but ultimately we won. And that's all that matters, right?
Your courage has been tested, and in this at least, you have triumphed.
Thank you all so much for watching the video and making it this far. But in reality, I really truly thank you all for watching. And please tell me any advice or any tips you guys think I should look out for. Or also tell me what you guys think I should or shouldn't do for the build. Should I respec back to being a pure Necromancer, or should I continue with the Necromancer Druid hybrid? I personally think it's going to be a really good Necromancer build in the end, but we don't get our level 6 Druid feature until level 12.
Beyond the campsite, the city waits in uneasy silence. One sleep away.
But anyways, please like, comment, and subscribe to get part 3. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Farewell for now.